So this fanfiction idea was actually voted on over on my Patreon. As always, if you guys would like to be part of those said Patreons, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can hit the first tier. That will allow you access to polls, as well as episode reviews for, like, Star Wars The Acolyte. I'm still doing episodes for Suicide Squad Isekai. I'm debating on doing episode reviews for Batman Caped Crusader, but I don't know, because it's very I don't know how episodic it will be. Like, it'll be just kind of hard to just do, like, unless there's an overarching story. I don't know. I've heard it's going to be episodic. Not entirely sure if it is or not, but still. Anyway, regardless, I'm still thinking about it. But yeah, I'm getting off topic. We also want to check out the polls that affect videos here on Patreon as well as here on YouTube. Just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, hit the first tier. That'll allow you access to do so. Anyway, let's get started with the video. And what story did win? Like, what story won? Well, you can see it's Star versus the Skaven, which is a fanfiction idea I've wanted to do for a while, since I've started to learn more about Warhammer Fantasy, and I just feel like the Skaven are my favorite faction. Like, they've become my favorite faction in all of Warhammer Fantasy. As much as I like the Lizardmen, and the Lizardmen are cool, but, like, there's something about, like, just these insane crack-headed bastards that's just so much fun and they're simultaneously both fun and terrifying. That's what I think I like about them. Anywhere. Like, that they're just so fucking crazy. They're just so fucking fun. And I can see why people like them so much, because they feel like there's a lot of originality to it. Anyway, so yeah. So let's get started with the video. Anyway, the story begins with, we are now in, like, somewhere nebulously in Season 4, and essentially what is going on is that the Mewmans have been growing corn. That's their, main form of like, food and income and all of that. And there's been something weird going on as of late. Like, Mewman corn crops, what ones they can grow, are being stolen or being poisoned by this green aura that they've been seeing. And it's been going on for, like, about 2 weeks now. Now, obviously, they think it's, like, some kind of, like, dark magic or rot or something. But Queen Eclipsa is like, yeah, don't worry, I'll get on it. Like, don't worry about it. It's cool. Everything's fine. I'm fine. You're fine. I'm gonna go have a panic attack in my room. Okay. So, Eclipsa clearly knows something is going on, and that's not doing well for her image, and even Star is trying to tell her, look, Eclipsa, you have to tell them if you know something, you have to tell them, and you have to tell me what's going on. I can't help protect I can't help you and protect your image at the same time if you do know something else is going on. Because, let's be real, you do have a lot of secrets that you hide from everyone else. And Eclipsa's like, you don't want to know if this is what I think it is. Trust me, you don't, hopefully they will just leave us alone. Like, they'll get bored. And Star, of course, is like, who's they? Now you're just making it worse! So, Eclipsa is, like, being closely guarded. She's keeping Meteora close with her. She's even, like, her husband Globgor is even like, yeah, this is scary. So Marco and Star, of course, being Marco and Star, along with Tom and Jana, proceed to, like, do their own investigation into this green aura and the corn rot. And yeah, when Star goes near it, it immediately, like, just gives her, like, it makes her feel sick, it makes her feel weak, and Tom himself, like, when he gets near this, this green corruption, it even, like, sends him into, like, almost like a rabid spell. Like, Marco has to, like, pin Tom down and get him away from this aura because it's, like, affecting him in such a negative way. And they're just like, and they even, like, Jana and Marco, like, have this moment of, this feels like toxic, but it's affecting them differently. So at night, there's more like there's like rumors of like sightings in other Mewni villages of, you know, red-eyed shadows scurrying through the darkness, and there's now like those reports are coming more and more, and they're getting closer to villages. And the other thing is, monsters are fleeing like out of their homes in other parts of Mewni, and they're just like running. They are literally fleeing their homes because there's something else, like Buff Frog, who goes to Eclipse's castle personally, and he's like, "Look, I don't know what to tell you, but we had to haul ass out of our homes because there is something out there, and it's coming. There is something really awful. We don't know what it is. They hit us like they raided us in the middle of the village." You know, in the middle of the night, excuse me. Yeah, they came at us at the middle of the night. We don't know what they were. We ran for our lives. And they took what was our, they took everything, and any of us who couldn't get away fast enough. And, Eclipse is like, well, what did they look like? And Buff Frog just goes, they looked like rats. And that's when Meteora's like, get every guard, every soldier we can muster, and lock down everything. It is them. And Star's like, okay, Eclipse, you have to tell us, who are they? And she goes, they're the Skaven. And they've come to kill us all. So, Eclipse, Star basically is like, alright, you cannot bullshit me anymore. You have to tell me who are the Skaven. And Eclipse explains that, like, many years ago, after she left, Shastakan for Globgor, she and him had to flee because she was pregnant at the time. She was pregnant with Meteora, and what happened was they were going to be, she needed a safe haven. Like, she needed a safe haven, and somewhere where they can be safe, like somewhere that they can be happy together. Or at the time, because she Eclipse was like, I kind of knew that what was going to happen was that either A, my husband was going to get killed, I was going to get killed, and the baby was going to get killed, or B, I was going to get thrown into another into a human civil war, and I had no allies on my side. So what happened was. What happened was they had Eclipse, using the wand, used her power to cut open holes to other realms to seek out allies. And one world she went to was simply known as the Old World. That's what they called they called it, the Old World. They came, her and Globgor came and looked for allies in that world because she saw so many strong factions. Unfortunately, a lot of them were, she was like, I didn't want to go near Chaos. They looked worse. Britonia sucked. The Empire of Man saw my husband, and that just reminded me of Mewni. The vampires were worse. And the ogres and trolls just were everyone was the worst. That was the thing. She was close to, making an alliance with Karl Franz, in the Empire of Man, but the problem was that when Karl Franz found out her story and who her husband was, he was like, I'm sorry, that's not gonna fly here. So she was desperate, and that's when she met Lord Nardwall of Clan Moors. And Nardwall basically said, oh yeah, we could totally, you have endless food, yes, you have, supply resources, yes. And she's like, I don't like how you talk, but yes. So Nardwall introduced her to the Council of 13, and Eclipse made a pact with the Skaven that basically she would have safe haven among them, and in return she'd teach them how to make dimensional scissors with what weapons and resources they have, as well as give them the ability to make their teach them human magic. And everyone in the room just goes, when they hear this story, they're like, ooh, you picked the Skaven? Of all of them, the Skaven! So, and she's like, I was desperate. Karl Franz turned his nose up at me at the last second. I wasn't gonna go to, like, team up. At least I didn't team up with Korn, or Slaanesh, or Zanich, or Nurgle. That's good. And she's like, oh, yeah, thanks. Thanks for not selling us out to Chaos. Thanks for selling us out to something. You know what would have been so much worse? Is if you allied yourself with Nagash. Or the Tomb Kings. The Lizard Men could have taken you in. Like, that would have... Or why didn't you go to the High Elves? Why did you go to them? Because the Skaven are so evil, they're known throughout Mewni, because, and that's what, Moon's in the room, and she's explaining why the Skaven are known to the humans, because Mewni, in the early days of, when they were an expansionist empire, they went to the old world and fought the Skaven. It didn't go well. The Skaven were by far the most evil thing they had encountered, and even Queen Solaria was like, we cannot, for the life of us, Mewni cannot let the Skaven come to our world. It would be the end of us if the Skaven came to our world. So, of all of them, and she was when they went to the old world, when they went to that into that world, they literally were Solaria, Moon's telling the story of when they battled the Empire of Man, and they fought Bretonia, they fought Chaos, they fought the Orcs, but the one race that scared her more was the Skaven. So Lord Nardwuar and the rest of the Council of 13 have now been more or less forging using Mewman magic. It's been Clan Scryer's been blowing themselves up for so many years. They're even hold on, why didn't they do this sooner? And that's when Eclipsa basically says, you have to understand that the Skaven are notoriously self-destructive sometimes. So they probably have been experimenting with Mewman magic, but it kept blowing up on them. And they've probably been trying to use, since I got captured, I couldn't teach them. I got sealed away, and so did Globgor. Neither of us could teach them what they needed to know. So Clan Scryer and that fuckwit Ikit Claw has probably been trying to replicate it with warp stones, and it hasn't really worked out for them. But now they finally figured it out, and now they're here. And sure enough, that's when, out in the distance of the Mewman capital, they hear a bell ringing, and it rings 13 times. And that's when the attack begins. The Skaven have arrived. And leading the charge is Lord Nardwuar with his own version of a Mewman wand. And with him, he's got, Queek Headtaker at his side, his right-hand man, just no one will kill more than Mimi. No one take more heads than Mimi. Mimi will kill Mewni fairy things. Yes, yes. And Nardwuar's just Queek, I appreciate the enthusiasm, but you gotta take it down. You're at a 30. I need you at an 11 right now. So the war is on. It's a full-on fight between the Mewmans and, the Mewmans, the monster refugees, and the Skaven. And it's already, the Skaven are, in full war mode. They swarm the entire area. It's just... And that's the thing, it's their numbers that are the scariest thing about them. They are just able to swarm... the Star and the others are completely... thrown out of balance, because they didn't have enough numbers to begin with. Even with the the monsters working with them, they don't have enough people to fight off the Skaven horde. They're just too many. And also they're bringing in their Grey Seers to counter Mewman magic. What soldiers they have are getting overwhelmed. And also, they're running scared, because once they see one of those giant rat abominations lumbering towards them, they're just I just shit my pants, I'm going home. Um, so Star is like, we can't fight them. Like, there is no way that we could take them on in a head-on fight. We need to figure out some other way. Can there be anyone who can help us? And they're like, well, Mewni's not really liked by anyone. And Star's like, why don't we just, like, I know you kind of ruined things in our last few encounters with the old world, but what if we just went there and we gotta make allies with somebody? And then Moon's like, yeah, because that worked out so well with Eclipse of allying with, you know, the rat people. And she's like, I wasn't given a lot of options, thanks, bitch. So Star and Marco go to the old world. They keep calling it the old world. I know it doesn't have another name, but that's what they refer to it as. And the other thing, as the war's going badly with the Skaven, the Mewmans discover that warp stones have a negative effect on, you know, Mewmans and Mewman adjacent races. Like it's like poison to them. Where it's like just crack rocks for the Skaven. Anyway, so they go there. So Star and Marco go back to the old world, and they're like, well, who's the only person that could really, like, listen to us? And they are literally like, well, the Empire of Man could help us, but I'm pretty sure my Eclipsa fucked that. So how about we try the elves or the dwarves or something? So their best chance is to go to Thor. Like Marco says, let's try someone. Like let's just talk to someone. So they head out and they go to meet with the dwarves, and King Thorgrim is there, and the Grudge Bear's just sitting on his throne. He's just like, you guys, is that a knife ear I see? And she's like, wow, that's super racist, but no, I'm not an elf, I'm a Mewman. He goes, Mewman? The last time a Mewman army showed up, you guys got, you guys raided Kazakh 8 Peaks for 3 days. And then we stomped you all, but you all called us short and cut our beards. Get the fuck out of my sight. So, that didn't go well. Meanwhile, the war's not going well for, it's not going well for Mewni either, as the Skaven tide, the Vermintide, is just trouncing everyone they go. Even like with even with getting numbers from the Netherworld, with Tom leading a demonic horde to help fight them and boost the numbers, there's just too many Skaven. So finally, Star breaks down and goes, well, there's only really, I think we should go talk to this Karl Franz guy. And they're like, well, is he even still alive? He has to be dead. And that's when Star explains, well, time moves differently for most worlds. So maybe there's a chance Karl Franz is still alive. So maybe we go talk to him and he could help us. And that's when, like, Marco and Star get, like, a vision. Like, they get hit with a vision, and it's from Sigmar. And Sigmar just said, like, Sigmar's talking to them, just sitting on his throne, and he's just like, you fucked yourselves on this, but I cannot let, the poison of the Skaven spread across many worlds. So, I will send you, I, Sigmar, shall send help to battle the Great Horned Rat. And who does he send? He sends the fucking Stormcast Eternals to Mewni to help stem the tide against the Skaven. So Star arrives like fucking Gandalf the White at Helm's Deep, charging in with the Stormcast Eternals at her side to wage war against them. So the war now, like, they're battling it back, and meanwhile, now that they have, like, extra help from the Eternals, they basically now have a chance where Moon and Eclipsa are kind of joining their magic together to banish the Skaven back to the original Earth, which they actually have time now, as Star goes head-to-head with Lord Nardwall, and she's getting her ass kicked. Eventually, they do manage to have the spell and banish them back to their world, and Sigmar actually, like, addresses, like, the Stormcast Eternals address that our god Sigmar shall make sure that no Mewman foot will ever set foot in our world again. So don't come back! So don't come back or you won't come back at all. So, there you go. They just win by the skin of their teeth. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much Star versus the Skaven. I want to thank everyone who voted on it. It was actually like a pretty close poll there for a hot minute. But anyway, you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of it? Comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.